Science Journal for Kids and Teens presents How Can We Monitor the Wildlife Trade? Read by Liz Yon. The wildlife trade is a threat to global biodiversity, but we don't know how much of a threat. That's because some countries don't have strict regulations or collect data. And the databases from countries that do collect data about wildlife trading are hard to compare. We wanted to look at the databases to figure out how the data could be better. Could we improve them to help make sure the wildlife trade is sustainable? The United States keeps one of the most comprehensive databases, so we looked there. We also looked at a database that is smaller but comes from a global authority. We found 29,445 species were traded between 2000 and 2022. With substantial numbers coming from the wild. We think this is an underestimate of the global wildlife trade and its threat to organisms in the wild. Have you wondered where all the colorful fish in a pet store come from? Well, the wildlife trade involves buying, selling, and exchanging animals, like aquarium fish, and plants from all over the world. The media often focuses on illegal wildlife trading, but most wildlife trading happens legally. Many of the animals in the wildlife trade are caught in the wild. This can seriously impact biodiversity. Biodiversity keeps the environment healthy. It can provide humans with food and medicines. It can regulate potential problems, such as insects carrying various diseases. It also helps keep our air and water clean. Wildlife trading is just one of many threats to biodiversity. When traders collect organisms from the wild, it makes populations smaller and can even drive species extinct. So, the wildlife trade may not be sustainable. Unfortunately, there are some gaps in our data about the wildlife trade. This makes it hard to figure out how much it impacts organisms. It's hard to compare data from different countries and different databases. They may have collected different information, or they may have named organisms differently, or they might not share their data. This means we don't have reliable information about which species are traded. We also don't have a good idea of how many individuals are traded or what impact this has on wild populations. We wanted to look at the existing databases to see what information was available. Then we asked several questions. What extra data do we need? How can we improve our databases? How can we use this information to help wild organisms? To explore these questions, we used information from two databases. The United States is one of the largest importers of wildlife. So we used the U.S. Law Enforcement Management Information System, LEMIS, database from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. It contains the most comprehensive data in the world across different groups of animals. We also used the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES, database. CITES is a global initiative, so it has data from all over the world, but this is limited to a much smaller selection of species where trade was already determined to cause a threat. We used computer software to help us sort, combine, and correct data from LEMIS and CITES. We examined the records on trade from 2000 to 2022. Then, we examined the number and type of individuals that were traded. We also looked at the percentage of individuals that came from the wild. We discovered the purposes of wildlife trading. We found 21,097 species traded in the LEMIS database. Figure 1. Figure 1. The approximate number of species traded in the United States between 2000 and 2022. Species are divided into groups of similar organisms. The data are from the LEMIS database. This represents 2.85 billion individuals. We found a total of 29,445 species when we added data from sites. Most of the extra species were plants. Our data showed several patterns. 1. The most traded types of organisms were arachnids, 30%, fish, 21%, and insects, 19.4%. 2. The percentage of individuals that came from the wild varied a lot between groups. See Figure 2 on page 3. For example, 95% of marine mammals were from the wild, but less than 5% of arachnids were from the wild. However, sneaking in spiders might be easy. You can even hide them in an envelope. So we know these records are only part of the picture. Figure 2. The graph shows several types of animals that were part of the wildlife trade from 2000 to 2022. Each bar represents the percentage of individuals within that category that came from the wild. These bars are labeled on the x-axis. The y-axis represents the percentage of individuals. 3. We found that 77% of individuals were traded for commercial purposes, selling in shops. A lot of marine mammals and amphibians were traded for research or education. Many birds and land mammals were traded for hunting trophies. A lot more organisms are being traded than we'd thought, and this is likely an underestimate. Many organisms don't get recorded in the LEMIS database. Other agencies record them. For example, people can import fish through 4 different U.S. agencies. And many countries don't have strict regulations or records on the wildlife trade. Because of this, we are likely to underestimate the global impact on biodiversity, or even how many animal species are in trade. We have several suggestions that could help manage the wildlife trade. All wildlife trade data should be collected and shared. We should make regulations focused on sustainability. For example, ensuring harvests don't decrease wild populations. Existing databases need to have better and more consistent data. The people responsible should use correct species names and double-check for typos or outdated information. Use the same units for numbers of organisms. Develop an automated process for checking paperwork. Make the data available in real time. These suggestions could help us identify organisms that are at risk for overexploitation. We will need international cooperation to implement these globally. This could support a more sustainable wildlife trade. The wildlife trade could have a huge impact on the natural environment. Traders may be taking organisms from the wild at a rate that is not sustainable. We need to have better and more accessible data to figure it out. As a consumer, you and your family can become more knowledgeable. When you buy products, ask sellers for information or documentation about where they came from. You can also do your own research to see if those organisms are in danger in the wild. This could be especially helpful for exotic pets, seafood, furs, skins, and even decorative items like boxes of framed insects. Thank you for listening to this recording. This work has been adapted from the original peer-reviewed paper in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, published on January 7, 2025. Research conducted by Alice Hughes of the University of Melbourne, Australia, Ben Marshall of the University of Glasgow, Scotland, and others. See the full list of authors and their affiliations in the accompanying PDF. Please visit our website, sciencejournalforkids.org, for more free science teaching resources.
Hey everyone, we're a small nonprofit and all of our resources are free. So if you like what you see, please subscribe and share.